Hello, Culture Matters podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to our guest. Before I do that, here is a quote just for this episode. Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising up every time we fail. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Our guest today may have come from humble beginnings, but damn well I can tell you by May 27th of 2024, they had over 178 listing appointments, or not listing appointments, listings in an industry where the majority of people who may or may not have come from humble beginnings are checking out, not checking in, not humbling themselves, and doing the work that works. This person that is coming on our show today is a leader by example, an inspiring person to work alongside, a friend of the Culture Matters podcast, and a staple in what Culture Matters has become today, a regular guest, and a practitioner of actual professionalism and stewardship advisory in the real estate professional services industry, broker, realtor, professional, and one of the top in the country. Maria Quattrone is back to talk about how she got here and how the heck one could even have this many business opportunities in this while the sky is falling, as many people have been saying on this podcast. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Jay, thank you so much. One, for that beautiful, warm introduction. And thank you so much for having me back on as your guest. I love you. I'm so excited to talk with you today. Gosh, we always have such a great synergy when we're together. And I love that quote because it embodies everything that I'm about.
Our greatest glory is not in ever failing, but in rising up every time we fail. When you had to be around 10 years old when you were going up to doors and knocking, and you were doing what, greeting cards or Christmas cards or something of that nature at the time?
Yes, greeting cards, Christmas cards, wrapping paper, Hanukkah paper, and cards. And I would go door to door in my neighborhood in Northeast Philadelphia. And we actually found out about this program, and the flyer came in the mail. And I saw in the back of it, it said, sell wrapping paper. Everyone you sell, you get $1. So I thought, oh, wow, this is great. I can make some money for Christmas presents for my family to buy them at the church bazaar, which I loved. And back then, this is, circa 1980, there was a great church bazaar at our school. Went to Catholic parochial school for 12 years. And I loved it. I loved being part of the community there. And I was always involved in things and I wanted to buy presents for them. That was my motivation.
What, oh, what was your motivation?
My family, buying Christmas presents for my family.
Now, why didn't they have any?
They didn't have any Christmas presents. But
Yeah,
we
why?
did. No. I mean, my parents, Santa
Yeah.
bought us presents. But these are gifts, my gifts to them. I wanted to buy everybody presents.
Wow.
So maybe that's one of my love signs, giving gifts. No, sugar.
Do you remember the first person that you met at the door when you first started doing that?
I, unfortunately, Jay, I do not. And I don't know if because of that, I didn't have a good memory about it or too much wine over the years. I don't know.
Were you scared in the beginning?
I don't remember being scared.
Wow.
I don't
Wow.
remember being scared at all. And
Why?
I sold Girl Scout cookies door to door. I had a lemonade and popcorn stand on the corner of our house. So we lived the second house in from the corner.
Mm.
And so on the corner, which was, you walk down the steps, 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 we have a lot of steps. You walk 15 feet and we put out a table. We made homemade lemonade. Maybe it was country time and fresh popcorn. Not the kind in the Jiffy thing, which people don't even know what that is, but the kind that you cook in the oil in the pot, big pot. And then we throw it into a big bowl and we put salt and butter all over it. And then we packaged it up in little sandwich bags.
Wow. What grade is this?
That was younger. Probably maybe I was 8 or 9.
Now, that where you were growing up, was that what was that neighborhood look like at the time? Because people in Philly, they might not know, or people outside of Philly, they might not know what type of environment that was. People in Philly, things change over the years.
So
Um,
at that time, we lived in Castor Gardens. It was a nice neighborhood. You went to Catholic school, you went to public school. You were Catholic or you were Jewish for the most part. That's what it seemed like anyway to me at the time. I think that's pretty accurate. Um, we were all friends. We played in the street. We played dodgeball. We caught lightning bugs. We rode our bikes. We played hopscotch. Is that what it's called?
yeah,
Hopscotch. Uh, Chinese. What's there's a thing with this? Oh God, I forget what it's called. But it's a band, and you play Chinese something with it. We did all the things and all kinds of games. We played games. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't sit around watching TV. First of all, the TV stunk. We only had a few channels, and we watched all those. And our shows were on either early in the morning or later, in the evening, 7, 8, 9 o'clock. And most of the time, as long as the weather was nice, we were outside. Nobody cared where we were. Really. I don't know. I don't remember. I remember I took the bike out and then I came back 7 hours later
wow,
and nobody asked where I was. We went to this rec center called Max Myers. We called it Maxa Myers, but it's Max Myers. It's still there. It's not as nice as it was when we were there in the 80s, but that's where we spent our time in the summers. We didn't have camp. I mean, there was camp. We just didn't have, we weren't able to afford to go to overnight camp or day camp. So our camp was the rec center. They had activities for us. We made crafts. I made all kinds of stuff. I was in acting. We went swimming every day in the pool. We took swimming lessons, or not swimming lessons. We took water ballet. Did you ever hear that?
yeah,
Yeah, water ballet. We had a water ballet show. It was great. We had fun. And on the weekends, we got to visit our grandparents down. They had a campground that they had a camper in, and we would go and visit them at their campground. And we loved it. We loved camping. We didn't sleep. Well, we did have a tent, but we never slept in the tent. We slept in the camp. We made fires and roasted marshmallows and walked around the campground. It was like old school stuff. There's an arcade, played so many games of Miss Pac-Man. I was like a Miss Pac-Man wizard. And I read a ton of books.
really. Do you remember when you started reading?
Oh, I started reading young. I mean, I would dive into books as an escape from anything that I didn't want to deal with or think about, or, you know, maybe I was punished around it. So I spent a lot of time reading. One summer, I did an MS bookathon and I had people sign up. They gave me anywhere from 10 cents to $1. So the people that gave the dollar were pretty, I wouldn't say upset, but astonished when I came to collect the money, and I read 52 books over the
Well,
summer.
Wow.
Yeah. And they were all different size books, but 52 books, they all came from the library.
Now, there some entrepreneurs have mentioned that they on the show that their childhood wasn't the best, and it motivated them to
Well, my
what
parents
drove
are,
yeah, what was it like?
so my parents are great. I mean, they're loving people, but there was a lot of um drama, fighting, and there was money and then there wasn't money, and it was confusing. I'm the oldest of five. At the time there was four of us. My brother wasn't born until 1987. By that time I had just I was graduating high school. And so, he's the first only, basically. Look at how families are organized. So, there was a lot of stuff, and it was heavy. Um, I played with my friends as I was younger, as I got older into my early teens. I did rebel. I was rebellious. Started to get into a little bit of trouble. Um, you know, Started going to the dance, and then I drank and got really drunk, and then I wasn't allowed out for 3 months.
Wow.
I was stuck in the house at school. And yeah, that was a bad year. Sophomore year of high school was not a good year for me. I was in a lot of trouble. And part of that was the rebellion from confusion. But I remember saying, I'm going to be successful. I believed in myself. And my parents instilled that in me as a little girl, to believe
Really?
in yourself, that you can do anything that you set your mind to. My dad, I would always write in my copybook. My dad told me, write PMA. I was in maybe eighth grade and on, positive mental attitude. So no matter what's going on, you can control your emotions. You can control how you react. A positive mental attitude. Now I looked at it, not necessarily that I got it all then. I obviously didn't get it all. It took a while to really let that sink in, but it was there. And they always told me that I didn't need a man. That was what women did, right? But I know this doesn't sounds crazy. This is going back 35 years ago, 30 some years ago. And you went to high school, you went to college, and then a lot of people were getting married in their early 20s. I didn't take that route. Um, I believe I wanted to be successful. I wanted to have success. I wanted to do my thing. And I think part of that whole not getting married young was partially because I felt when I grew up quickly, and I was taking care of my brothers and sisters, and I didn't want any more responsibility.
Mm.
So when I was finished, with college and everything, and I, um, I kind of went on like I refused to do anything. Like I wasn't going to clean the house because I cleaned the other house all the time. I wasn't going to do nothing. I kind of just like stayed there and then went to work. So I worked right after college. And, at this point, my parents lived in Medford, New Jersey. We lived in Medford from Northeast Philly. And it was a different world and a different life than how I grew up. So there was a lot. Um, and there's still probably a lot there to unpack, but, you know, I haven't entirely unpacked.
Mm. And what work were you doing in college?
So, well, we'll go back to high school. In high school, my first job when I was 14 was I was counting checks at a bank. I was a statement clerk. You don't even know what that is, right? So
No.
back in the day, when you got your bank statement, they would send your checks back to you, the actual check. to know that it was canceled and paid. Now it's electronic. It didn't used to be. So all the checks would come in, they would get filed under the account numbers, and then there was big mail bins, like this big as maybe 3 feet long, and all the checks were in there, and there were piles and piles of mail bins. We had to go through them, count all the checks, and then get the statement that matched the checks, put the checks in the statement, put it in the envelope. We didn't have to seal up the envelope because somehow they got sealed. I don't know how, but seal up the envelope, and then they sent them out. And then you'd get the checks mailed to you, and you would see, oh, I used 32 checks in the month of May, and I saw that they all got cashed. And then they would be all listed on there. That was job one. Then, while I was still doing that, I got another job. I was cutting fabric at a fabric store. Well, I was selling fabric. So people would come in, they would buy a pattern to make a skirt or a dress or whatever, and I'd help them pick out pattern. And then I would measure how much they needed. So it said, oh, this one needs 2 yards. So I cut them 2 yards. They'd go up and pay, and they'd be on their merry way. I did that also while I was at high school.
At 14?
I was, I guess maybe 16 then, 15, because when I graduated high school, I was 17. My birthday wasn't until my birthday's in August, so I'd be 18 in August. So I was a little bit on the younger side.
Do you think it was an advantage, today, the 178 listings already in one of the worst, perceivably worst?
178 listing appointments done for the year, not taken.
Got it. Take
I'm so,
done.
we'll get into that in a minute, but of course it was an advantage. If I didn't have those hard times, I believe that in your early years is what gives you the ability to decide this is not something that you want, and at all cost, within reason. And I say that within reason, meaning nothing illegal. I was going to make it happen. And it takes hard work, it takes dedication, it takes never giving up, it takes failing forward, it takes getting knocked down, beat up, face kicked in, blood coming out of your mouth, and getting back up, dusting yourself off, and keep going. And that part, when I say that, that's the humiliation part that comes in as an entrepreneur, because we all at some point are humiliated. People don't believe in us, or it's interesting because the people that do more don't look down on you. It's the people that do less that do. And the people that do more in life always want to give a hands up to those that are coming up, or either beside them, or we're still, maybe not as successful as them, but I look at myself and I'm always willing to help somebody out. And I admire those that are doing more. There'll always be somebody doing less, always be somebody doing more, always be somebody that has a bigger problem. And problems are most all problems, unless you're terminally dying, are figure outable.
Why?
Be the solution. You are your own solution, and only you can decide to figure out your problem. And we have to take responsibility for our own lives, the good, the bad, the indifferent. We make decisions that may not affect us today, but may affect us from 10 years from now. Every decision, not that every decision is important, but every decision is a dot. And it's a dot connecting. You can't connect them forward, only backward. So you can't see what the future. But what about that day at the Isotonics that I didn't say hi to you? And I didn't start talking. and you didn't come in real estate, and I didn't teach you the phone, and you didn't say, this isn't, I'm doing this, and you didn't think about that. Think about all those things. What if? I don't know. Well, we certainly want to be here today. That's for sure. Where would you be on your journey? I don't know. But it's something, I always think about things like that.
Wow.
I think about the day that I got the bus and I had to take, I was taking the bus to pick my sister up to take care of Helen. Helen's 7 years younger than I. So she was probably four. I was probably 10 or 11, depending on time of year. My mom was taking some classes at community college. My dad wasn't home. I had to pick my sister up from school, from daycare. So I get home from school. I have two tokens, one to get there, one to get back, and get on the bus. Now there's two buses. One takes you to Bly Avenue, which is like 7 blocks from my house. The other one takes you all the way down to Buzzleton Avenue, which is like 3 miles or more. I got on the wrong bus. They let me out at Bly Avenue. So I had a choice. I had a token. I had no money. So I had a token. I could use that token to get to daycare, or I can run and walk, then use the token to come back with her because I didn't have to pay for her because she was full. So I was very upset. I was crying. I mean, I was in like hysterical crying and running at the same time and hyperventilating because I had to get to daycare by a certain time. Otherwise, you get in trouble, like penalized or fee or some BS. So I'll never forget it. It's something still very clear in my vision today because it was traumatic for me that I was going to be late picking her up. And I didn't want her to feel like she was abandoned there.
Wow.
And so I did make it there. I'm not sure what I said when I got there to them. I just got her and then got on the bus. And I remember sitting on the bus coming back, being like, grief,
Wow.
grief. Gratitude's underrated, even today. I'm blessed. I say it every day. Thank the Lord. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. So grateful for all the things I have in my life. A lot of them, we do through work, we do through hard work, but you have to have the foresight, you have to have dedication, and you have to think about not today, but the future. And there's no quick fix to anything.
It seems like a lot of responsibility for a little kid to do that, to pick up a 4-year-old.
Well, in today's world, sure, maybe then, maybe as well, but I grew up pretty quickly. I think I was always that that young woman who talked to like all the adults at the party, and I asked a million questions. I was
Hmm.
very inquisitive. Even actually, as a child, my mom said I drove her absolutely crazy. I wanted to know about everything. I asked about everything. What, what's this? What's that? Why? I want to know why. I want to know what this was. You know, I was walking before the age of one, potty trained by 16 months. Interesting. I was a little human walking around, asking a million questions. So when I was a baby, my mom and dad for the first year, or not quite a year, but they lived at my grandmom, my nana's house, my dad's mom, and and my great grandmother, Maria Lena. So it was my mom, nana, and little mom, big nana and little mom. So great
Wow.
grandmom, grandmom, mom. You only could imagine what that was like.
What was it? Yeah, what was it like to have Your
No,
grandma
no.
and your
I
great
was like,
grandma.
I wasn't
Like,
even a year old. But my mom would tell me that the reason why I love bread and butter is because my grandmother always used to give me a piece of bread, Italian bread, and I love butter. I still do. Like people would say, you want a little bread with that butter?
huh,
But I don't really eat bread unless it's gluten free or unless I'm being bad and not following my diet. But because I have a wheat allergy, this is why I don't eat regular bread unless I'm in Italy. In that case, I don't have a wheat allergy there because they don't use Monsanto.
wow.
Monsanto is the devil. They're killing us slowly, slowly killing us with the stuff they put on all of our wheat, um, our food sources. Why people have so many allergies? It's because of big money, not to have the wheat killed by bugs. So now they spray all this stuff, goes away. Meanwhile, you have people with celiac, people with wheat allergies. I didn't grow up having a wheat allergy. I eat bread and butter all the time. Actually, it was my favorite thing to eat. Still
Hmm.
is. That pizza, can't have it. Gluten-free pizza is not the same, sorry. But so that's why I want to go to be in Italy, because in Italy, Monsanto is illegal. And
Wow, I didn't
so
know that.
yeah, so I can eat the bread there with no reaction. I can have a pizza there with no reaction. And the pasta, a good place for me to move to eventually.
How many listing appointments to get to Italy?
I figured that shit out, Jay. I gotta figure
What
that out.
what
I'm
type
more
of
I'm more
work
dialed in now than ever. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'd say ever because I know more now.
what's for those that are interested in really unpacking that, maybe they relate to your story, responsibility young, and want to succeed today in their career, in their, well, in real estate or out, but use your experience in real estate to, like, what are you doing? How are you approaching the current time, the
I think
current
it's a
environment?
I think when there's blood in the water, I think there's blood in the water. When you go swimming in another ocean, maybe on the other side. But what am I doing? Well, number one, I'm focused. Number two, I am doing everything I can, although I don't think I'm still doing enough. So I'm doubling down more. I'm tracking my numbers. I was just pulling up when I pull up my if they're not, it's all disorganized right at the moment because I was just going through looking. All right, so you have these sheets, and on these sheets, it's very clear if you do something or not. So
Uh,
what I'm holding up for those listening is a daily activity tracker. It says today's date. I write my name on it. It says today's call focus, today's goal. This couldn't be more elementary and rudimentary than it is. Then it has numbers 1 to 200 on it in little boxes. So cross through each style, circle each contact, and then highlight each appointment set. So in this particular day, March 18th, 24, I had 15 conversations this day, 5 appointments set, 4 listings out for signature. And then I write on the bottom notes. Oh, I got 2 new leads that day. And I make notes all on the bottom here of things I have to follow up with. And then I track how many texts I send, how long I'm on the phone for, what I figured out so far for every conversation, for every 5 conversations, I can set an appointment. That's way better than the national average. between 8 and 12. Average is 10. So, and that's if you're decent, you're good. So, I don't know, I'm at 5. So, if I make 25 conversations, generally we'll set 5 appointments. Sometimes I don't even need to set up to that many people. But my goal, my commitment every day is 20. 20 conversations. That's 100 conversations a week. Sometimes I go more, sometimes I don't. I don't hit the 100. I do my best to do it. I'd say that you have to deploy all things, sending emails, sending texts, calling people on the phone. Now, if you don't have any people to call for whatever reason, and if it was me, I would be door knocking FISBOs, door knocking anybody it looks like it's under construction, door knocking expireds. I also, when I'm on the phone, my conversations are very different. Sure, I have to ask them questions, but I do my best to make a connection with everybody. Asking them, I try to actually be a little funny. I don't try to be funny. I say things that are sometimes they can be construed as funny just because I'm actually trying to have fun while I'm doing this.
You
I'm not.
really?
Hmm?
Really?
Oh yeah, I'll be laughing. I'll be cracking up. And when they're listening to me, the ladies, I say ladies, we have all ladies, they're like they're laughing. They're like, oh my God. Some of the stuff I said. It could be construed as a little off the wall, but that's me sometimes. So I'll make a joke or, I'll say something that's funny or I'll follow up with somebody asking them about, you know, the last conversation I had with them. They could be tell me their son graduated from college from Penn State, or their daughter's getting married in Italy in a week in Tuscany. All different, you know, I'm in conversation about, oh, they're not feeling well. How does test go with your doctor? Like I ask people I talk to people about personal things. I don't keep it just on that, you know, high and dry. Want to get your listing. Want to list your house. Give me the listing. The other thing that happens is that, especially when I'm calling expires, when they people actually stop to listen to the conversation, they realize based on our conversation that this is a completely different experience than they had the last time or the time before. And they recognize that from the things that we're discussing that I actually know what the heck I'm talking about. And I have a clear plan for them to be successful in the sale of their property.
Hmm.
I could tell pretty quickly when I look at a listing why it's not sold, why it didn't sell, at least on the last listing. And then a few questions that I ask, I can then get a really clear picture. So doing this for so long and having so many conversations over the years, you figure out how to communicate with people. You figure out how to get the listing sold by doing this so many times, selling so many properties over the last 20 years. The average agents,
Go ahead. Sorry.
now the average person sells like 5 a year. See somebody who's, working all the time, it might sell like 1 a month. People consider when you're doing 2 a month, excellent. It's 24 a year. I always ask, even if you're selling 2 a month, I ask what you're doing the rest of the time. What could you be doing? What are you doing? I don't know the
Do you
answer.
think people are more attracted to the idea of the lifestyle than the
Since
work style?
since HGTV, Million Dollar Bravo, Million Dollar Agent, Selling Sunset, selling my sister's ass. No, I'm kidding. Uh, I swear. Yes, I think that it's not glamorous at all. It is not glamorous. I guess if you're only selling, even if you sell luxury real estate and that's all you do, it's still not glamorous. You don't think people are not in there cleaning up the dog? It's just a little doggy that just peed on the floor and they're like, oh no, not there. So the serious things happen. You're always doing something, fluffing pillows up, putting, having a soiree, cleaning up from the soiree, blah, blah, blah. I doubt it's not glamorous. I know somebody wants to argue with me on that. Bring it on. I don't see anything glamorous about selling real estate. People fighting, kids screaming, dogs barking, houses are a mess when you get there. Who cares? I don't care. I tell people all the time, this is how you live. I really don't care. It's not going to change the value of your home. I don't sit in judgment of them. They're living their life. They have 5 kids running around. One of the things I learned, Jay, by interviewing over 200 people in my podcast, Be the Solution, is how to listen better. When you're listening better, you don't, you hear things that they're not saying, not just what they're saying.
Has that helped with the phone indirectly?
Oh, 100%. And I don't have any fear of calling anybody. Well, maybe the president of the United States, although I don't want to talk to him because I have to give him an earful. Fucking, excuse me. I mean to say
you're
that.
you're just
But
more
when
of a
I go to
thinker.
Trader Joe's, and I buy 8 bags of grocery and it costs me $512.48 and not
Holy cow.
happy.
Holy cow, that's a lot.
Well, I did buy 10 bags of coffee for the office, but they were only $5 a bag. Still, I stock up on stuff. Still, nonetheless, they only included 2 things of meat and very little fruits or vegetables because I get them from somewhere else. Things are super expensive. I don't know how people are doing it. The average person.
I'm curious about you. Like, I found that if I'm working, I'm not spending money. I mean,
Yeah.
of course,
Well,
there
I
are
don't
costs of
spend.
doing business, but if I'm working when times are tough or tough, I don't have time to consume. I'm creating.
That's correct.
Can you
That is
speak to that?
correct. 100%. First of all, I don't go out to lunch unless it's absolutely necessary. I make all of our meals. We do go out to dinner maybe twice a week, but outside of that, I cook everything. If we eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner is cooked. That's why I stock up on stuff. So I spend the money at the grocery store versus, and that's the other thing. Since it's only been a week, but stop drinking wine, and I wasn't drinking hard alcohol. Stopped drinking wine a week ago. So I realized, well, we don't need to spend this long in the restaurant, just Chip and I'm not consuming 3 wines or 4 wines. Go in, we eat, and we go, unless we're with people. There's When you're working and you're busy, there's no time to go buying clothes. I put on two different things this weekend. Chip's like, where are they from? I said, the closet.
Huh, wow.
I said, he's like, oh, really? I said, yeah, I went shopping in the closet. You can go shopping in your own closet. I guarantee everybody is listening. This probably is 90% more clothes than they ever need.
Do do pe- can people succeed right now?
100%. I say that unequivocally. 100%. And I say about the 178 listing appointments this year, it's not to impress somebody, but to impress upon people that are listening that the business is available, the business is there. I say it to everybody every day. Open up the MLS, see what listed came on the hot sheet, look what pended, look what closed, look what's under contract. Tell me there's no business. Now, with that, is there 30% less business than there was? Absolutely. So what does that mean? It's simple. It's math. That means you have to talk to more people. It means you have to work more hours. You have to talk to more people to find the ones that are ready to sell. And if they're not ready, then you put them on a system where you call them. People that are out like 6 months, I call them every month. But my follow-up boss, I have them on my little task. I give them a call. It depends on how long they're out. Depends on, how well I know them. Um, some people that I've worked with for years and I may not be doing any work with them, I call them every month, see how they're doing. Might it be every quarter? But they get emails from me and videos from me twice a week
Wow.
that go out. There are videos that I do. I've been doing a live every day since June 18th, 2023. We are coming into the final stretch of 1 year of a live video every single day, not one day missed.
What have you learned about yourself from that?
Commitment, consistency. Like I wouldn't go a day without doing it. Now, after June 18th, I have to decide. Well, I'll decide before that what the next thing will be. Will I continue? Will I continue? Does anybody care? Who cares if anybody cares? Do I care? What do I want to do? It's about me.
What do you want to
I haven't decided yet.
do?
What do you think I should do, Jay?
I think it would hurt my heart to know you stopped. The question is, what's the evolution?
No, I
Because
need
it
to get.
seems like there's apprehension because you're
There's
thinking
every.
about making it better in some way. That's the
Well, I
vibe that I
I
get.
I want to make it better, and I don't know exactly how to make it better. Um, is it the messaging? Is it my YouTube? I can't figure out how to make it work. I don't have time, quite frankly, to figure out how to make it work when I'm focusing on client, focusing on being a leader and showing agents in our company this is how you do it. Let me be completely okay. I don't work from home. I work in my office every day. I go in every morning. I'm there making calls. I ask everyone, come in, make calls, listen to me. I am leading by example. I want to know how many other leaders are coming in, making calls with their agents. Listen to what I say. Let's go back. Let's play it in follow up, boss. Listen to the conversation. Write it down. Take notes. Pay attention. Get off your smartphones.
Hmm.
People are sucked into their smartphone. Even sometimes I find myself in the morning on flipping, scrolling on social. Waste of time. So now, so I had been getting up between 6 and 6:30, although not the last week because my sleep was all messed up from cutting out the wine. My body was like, where is the wine? Where is the wine? Where are you?
Oh, wow.
So it had my sleep messed up. Last night was probably, even though I went to bed late, probably one. I was reading a book. Well, we were playing a game outside, like a fun game with guest stuff. I was laughing so hard. It was fun. And then I went into the bed and I finished my book. I started it Saturday, finished it last night, 430 pages.
Wow.
The Beach, it's called. It's not a workbook. It was a don't think about anything book. I needed a little break to rejuvenate. I feel rejuvenated today. Finally.
Wow.
after a week of going through like exhaustion. I think I passed the hump.
Was there something behind that?
Yeah, I want to do more and I want to feel better and I have inflammation. People say, how do you know? I can feel it. Like
Mm,
if you listen to your body, you can feel it. I feel it in my legs. So it's not helping me. And if it's not helping me, that means probably hurting me. So let's take a break, not forever, till I feel better and then figure it out from there. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. I'm kind of going day to day, being in the moment, doing the work. I'm hoping I can get more energy. My goal is sorry, I've seen it, it's raining, to go get back in the gym, start lifting weights. Weights help with uh, caloric, your metabolism, burning more calories faster. Um, yeah, I just want to do more. I want to do more than I'm doing. I know I have more to give to the world. Um, and quite frankly, it's all part of my journey. Be the solution.
mm.
I am the solution. I'm living it. I'm showing you what it is. You need to sometimes people need to figure things out for themselves. They don't need people telling them all the time, do this, do that, stop doing this, stop doing that. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to be told, oh, drink too much wine, you do this, you eat too much food, stop eating the pancakes. I don't eat pancakes, but I'm making that up. People need to figure things out on their own. Be the solution. You are your own solution. We started Be the Solution. Why? We came up with the name Be the Solution. The solution. Said Jenna said, well, what do you do? How do you help clients? I said, well, expired listings. We're the solution to their problem. I said, we're the solution. Be the solution. April, beginning of April 2020. True
Wow.
story. Be the solution. And I think Be the Solution can take on a whole thing of its own. And I think it can be across all industries, all Be the Solution. We are our own solution. And not everybody, I shouldn't say that, people in general want to blame other people for their problems, their issues. Oh, it's my parents' fault. I was beat. I was this. I was that. I was raped. You know, I got put in jail because I stole. All these things that people say. Okay, well, that's the past. Suck it up, buttercup. Let's go. You got to forgive yourself. Sometimes we don't know. We make mistakes. We're human. We repent for our mistakes. If you believe, and I do, you help other people in contribution. People to say, oh, I feel bad, I'm horrible. They go help somebody. Go help somebody else that's worse off than you. When you help somebody else that's worse off than you, two things happen. You help them and you help yourself at the same time. Because when we help other people, it makes us feel good. And when we feel good, we can start to heal. And then as we start to heal, it's a process, right? The compound effect. We talk about the compound effect all the time, positively or negatively. You could say compound effect. You make the calls every day. You go to the gym every day. You drink the water. Compound effect. You eat the brownie. You drink the wine. You drink the beer. You go to McDonald's every day. It works either way. And we get to choose which way we want it to work. That's why I believe that be the solution to be takes on a whole nother life of itself. It's not about real estate, it's about life. Who did you, what did you have to go through to be who you are today? And I went through a lot, something that I don't talk about often. But when I was young, I forget how old I was, but maybe 12 or so, I realized that when I, I realized that I was born in August, my parents were married in February of the same year. So that means that they were pregnant in December. And so I blamed myself for years. I probably was younger than that when I figured it out. That because they would fight and argue, and then they were happy, and then they were not, and then they were happy, and they were not. This went on for 50 years. They got divorced 4 years ago, 50 years. I mean, we haven't even touched the surface of all that. But 50 years and I blame myself for many years. And I was destructive in my own being
Mm.
because I blame myself for the unhappiness. And how heavy is that on a 12-year-old girl? That's why when things happen and things go, and I say, I don't give a fuck. And I don't mean that to be mean. I don't mean that to be um, disrespectful. I just believe that in my experience, I've been through a lot, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I'm glad I survived it,
Mm.
my own destructive behavior. So there was a lot of that drinking, drugs, whatever, young, 20s, late teens, 20s. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. I don't really care because I hope it helps somebody else. Know that you can be your own solution. One day I woke up and I said, that's that. And that was that. Just like the day I woke up and said, I don't need the wine, not helping me. And when I decide I'll have a glass of red wine or whatever, I will. We have to be able to make our own decisions. And hopefully we make the right ones. But every person has the power within them. And nobody's coming to save us right now during our human life. I do believe in the power of prayer. We have to want it. We have to want it. We have to want to get better. We have to want to do the work on ourselves. And the more that we can work on ourselves, the more that we can help others. I believe
Mm.
we're put here to help others, like you are, Jay. How many people are you helping? You're helping people at a very high level, which is helping thousands of people. You're helping them, and they have these organizations, and that means there's hundreds, maybe thousands of people there, and then that affects their families, and that's thousands of people. So I don't even know how many people it could be 100,000. I don't know. You would know.
If you're listening to this podcast, I need you to subscribe to Be the Solution. Follow Maria. Listen to this a couple times, especially if you're starting to doubt yourself. I got so much from this episode. I'm excited to share my notes when we hit stop. I had some realizations too, like I could share some of just your tracker for your calls. Like I have that my own. I've got to make or refine even with the show. So I've got all these epiphanies from just learning as a student today with you, along with our listeners. Um, I'm excited for our next chapter. And if you're listening to this, please follow Maria. Leave us a review on the Culture Matters podcast, and we will see you next time on the Culture Matters podcast. Thanks, Maria.
Well, Jay, thank you so much. I'm blessed and grateful for the opportunity to share today, for the friendship, love. Yeah.